right, so this is another episode of Husbandhoods, a podcast created for husbands, by husbands, to see husbands win in marriage, man. And I'm happy to have my brothers here with me again. This is live for me. This is exciting. So we have a young pastor and a young adult. Younger. A seasoned pastor. No. That's just who they call to be. Yeah. But who they are is Josh. I'll let y'all introduce yourself, man. How about that, real quick?
Joshua, pastor of Faithfield Church in Louisville, Texas.
Come on, Louisville. What time y'all start service? Tell them. Go ahead.
9:15.
Oh, snap. That's early.
That's a little early.
That's
Sunday school.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Shawn Torres, affectionately known as Pastor T. At I always want to say the historic Pilgrim Rest Missionary Baptist Church.
88 years.
Man.
88 years.
Faithful ministry, faithful church, faithful people. Glad to be here. This guy is wild getting us together, but we appreciate you. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's all in love, man. This is just a locker room, man. This is a locker room with great decorations and lights and greenery and but it's still, at the end of the day, we're just kicking it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all in all, I want to jump right into it. In a previous podcast that we've had, we've talked about just the impact that not having a father in the household, not seeing husbandhood day to day, how that impacted our marriage. But both of you guys had your fathers.
Sure.
How did that impact your marriage? If you self-reflect on that, how did that prepare you as a husband? Like, what did you see? What's that experience like?
Sure.
Yeah.
Want me to jump in?
Yes, sir.
So, it's ironic. My wife and I, we were just having this conversation 2 days ago, sitting on the couch. The 19th, we just celebrated 27 years.
Come on, man.
So
let's go.
It's kind of wild because
man.
The family that she comes from is opposite the one that I come from. I was telling her that all my aunts married, my mother married. All I've known is marriage. No one in my family was single unless their husband died. That just seems the way it is. The men go before the women. But after their husband passed, they just stayed widowed and never remarried, never dated. So I never experienced what singleness looks like. And my father, my parents have been married for a long time. And the one thing that my dad taught me was to anticipate my wife's needs. My wife is taken care of in a manner that she don't even know, because I'm always thinking about how can I make it easier for her so that she can do with ease whatever it is that she needs to do. And that's really when Jesus is saying, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. Essentially, we think about sacrifice and we say, I got to sacrifice. No, sacrifice looks like anticipating your wife's needs. Before Eve was revealed, God anticipated her needs and brought her into a place that was already established. Jesus loved us first. While we were yet sinners, Christ died. So he's always anticipating what we need so that the route to him can be easier. And that's probably the most important thing my father taught me. Anticipate. Because if she tells you, it's too late.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
she tells you it's too late. That's a quote.
If she tell you it's too late, brother. Man.
Mine's a little different. Growing up, I was born in Nigeria. I had my dad and my mom, different culture.
Sure.
My wife is American, straight out of Waco, Texas. Shout out to my wife if she's watching it.
Shout out to our wives.
Shout out to our wives. Yeah, all wives.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But my mom actually died 2 weeks before I turned 8.
Oh, wow.
So there was a different dynamic for me because growing up, I saw a dad who was always just amazing. To this day, my dad is amazing. But it was a missing piece when I got married, because me and my stepmom, we love each other, but that connection is not there so I learned how to be a man, and I learned how to be a husband. But how do I be a husband with a wife of my youth? Became a little bit of a different thing, because I'm like, well, this woman is triggering because I don't got my mama, and how do I love her now affectionately? And one of the things that you said that really caught my attention, one thing my dad taught me, was to not look at what's right in my eyes. And I began to study the first marriage in Genesis. And one of the things that was so unique about that, as you mentioned with Adam and Eve, is the fall of man. The very first inception of this fall actually came from them choosing to decide what was right and wrong for them.
That's right.
God gave them an option in Genesis 2. Told them, hey, if you eat of this fruit, you shall surely die. So in other words, God is saying this is good and this is evil.
Right.
But the first inception of sin was a man and a woman making the decision that I want to decide what's good and what's evil for me.
Sure.
And that now changed the way I taught marriage, because for me, I had to learn that if the fall of man is from man deciding what's good and what's evil, could it be perhaps that I may not know how to be a husband?
It's a good foundation.
So God had to become my ultimate foundation.
That's it.
Because if I go by my choice, what I think might be good might not necessarily be God. And what I think might be evil might actually be a good thing.
Right.
So it's really important, even for those who may have or may not have fathers, like we both have great fathers, but it's the ultimate father's blueprint that allows us to be able to engage with our wives, to be able to engage as husbands, and eventually have a great marriage. So I kind of go with that.
Like that. Yeah, I like
that. In the old church, they would just say, if you ain't got nothing to say,
here you go.
Just wave your hand. Here you go. Just wave your hand. I mean, this is like, this is insane, man. Like, Josh, I didn't know that about you. Wow. And the truth is, man, like, it just teaches me, man, we all have something to learn. Sure. I mean, when you choose to be a husband, when you choose to step into that lane, we all have something to learn. And here's the opportunity in it now, right? Yeah. We're all fathers now. So now you've self-reflected on your father, but now what does that look like for you now teaching your children? Don't you have a son? You have a son, Pastor T?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
We all have sons. So now what does that look like for us now, all of our experience, now leaning in to teach this son in the way that is acceptable and honorable and pleasing to the Lord.
Wow.
Because if he's the foundation of our marriage, he's also the foundation of my fatherhood.
Sure.
So I have to, it just overflows into it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Sure.
So as a result of that, it's like, what does that look like? What has that experience been like? Because we're all in it, What is that experience like as a husband being a father? Yeah. Especially to sons, right?
I know when I was first called into the ministry, my dad and I were driving through this Indian reservation, and he said to me, the call to ministry is the call to education.
Wow.
Because you really don't know what you do not know.
Right.
And the fact that you deal with all different kinds of people that come with different kinds of problems, you need to understand the problems, how to address them, what God has to say. And that's really the approach that I've had with my son. I mean, you're getting married, and it's funny because as I was listening, I was thinking, what makes you want to get married?
Come on.
Like seriously.
Right.
But that we'll discuss that later. But the fact that you're in the marriage now, you need to educate yourself, just like my brother was saying, on what it looks like to be a good father. Because the irony is you bring your history into the relationship. And so how you've been parented, how you've been loved, how you've been disciplined, how anger has come, all of those things, your history, your calendar, we do certain things these times. You bring all of that into the marriage, but she might bring a whole different construct.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Right. And so y'all have to iron and figure those things out, because you might like Disneyland, she might like Knoxbury Farm. What y'all gonna do?
Yep.
What you gonna do?
You gotta figure it out. And so you need to understand her. You need to talk to her. I believe family is huge. You need to speak with her mother, speak with her, understand her family dynamic, because that dynamic, it's not just her you're marrying all that baggage you don't see she carrying,
right?
But she's bringing that into the marriage.
What happens when you didn't know necessarily? You know, because I mean, I can get that from the single aspect, right?
Sure.
But what happens when you find out things during the marriage that you just didn't know? And then if we were to be transparent, if you had knew it, I don't know if you would have made the same decision.
Well, I'm gonna let you take that one.
You know, it's that's actually a good question. Me and my wife were talking about that. People evolve.
Yeah.
Having a son, my son's about to be 3 years old in June.
Come on, big guy.
He getting old. I realized that as he got older, his appetite changed.
Sure.
When he was a baby, it was easy for us to go to the restaurant, get a little Similac milk, mix it up, put some water on there. But as he got older, now he wants chicken nugget every single day.
Sure.
Every day,
and fries. But as his appetite changed, his behavior changed. His response to no changed. His response to yes changed. When he was younger, it was easy to just go put him in the bed and he would fall asleep. Now when I say go to bed, he's like, no.
Right.
And he filling out this no, you know. So he changed within 3 years. And it's easy for me to adjust because I see myself as an authoritative figure over him. So I have to adjust because I know it's my ministry to care for him. Right. The problem with many marriages is we don't adjust to the changing personalities of our spouses. Because who you marry as your wife now is a mother. Now this mother is no longer just a woman. Perhaps she lost a mother. Now she's a grieving woman, or perhaps she's a mother who lost a brother or a sister. So even our wives evolve. And I think allowing room for that evolving and allowing ourselves to evolve to care for them, because me 5 years ago cannot take care of my wife now.
You own it.
So I had to evolve alongside her. And many times divorce happens when we don't evolve and one person outgrows the other person. So my caregiving nature must grow as my wife needs grow. Whether she needs me now to be a better listener than I was 5 years when we first got married. Right. So I need to evolve in every aspect of me. And that goes even with parenting. I can't just take my kid and grab him and go put him somewhere else. Now I got to explain to him why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's harder. It's more work. It's difficult. But ain't that what God does to us?
And that you know? That to me, like you own it. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in. This young couple were divorced. They got a divorce because the husband said, "She's trying to change me." Now, I'm trying to be reserved.
No, don't be reserved.
I'm trying to
Please
be
don't.
reserved.
I'm asking you don't. Yeah.
What upset me was the very fact that you married her. You were marrying change. Who you are is not who you are meant to be once you say I do. That part. Because she, I'm gonna use your word, evolves. Your your taste buds change. Your temperature changes. Everything changes. And you have to be willing to say, as she changes, I'm going to adapt. I believe the beatitude that was left out of Matthew 5 was, blessed are the flexible, for they will never be bent out of shape. And that's the problem. You get bent out of shape because you're not willing to adjust And the adjustments is what's necessary. Don't nobody want to drive a car that's out of alignment. It needs to be realigned so y'all can move forward together. And that is the thing that if men would learn, I'm constantly willing. As a matter of fact, I want to change.
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting worse. I'm getting better. We're getting better.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you're one of those who say she's trying to change. Fool, that's why she there.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy when you said that. I think about when we first got married, and it was a judge with a courthouse, and I remember the judge asking us these series of questions to love and to hold. These questions that nobody ever listened to. We just think about what's gonna happen at the night,
Right.
And until death do your part. And then I had to repeat 2 words, 2 phrases. I do.
Absolutely.
Do is an action word.
Sure is.
When I say I do, that means until death do us part, I'm in a constant state of doing.
It's present tense.
I'm constantly doing. And it goes back to giving. And it's like when you're constantly in a place where I do every day. I do when it's bad. I do when I don't really like
That's
you.
right.
Right now.
That's right.
I do when you're getting on my nerves.
That's right.
I do when the food don't taste the way it used to taste before. I do. And when our constant mind is I do, it reminds us of the scripture, what can separate us from the love of Christ?
That's right.
Shall death, shall tribulation. Because Christ's love for his bride is a constant love of I do.
That's right.
I still love you. I died for you. It is finished. I do. I'm always going to be there to rescue you. I'm always going to be there for you. So when we have our love to resemble the ones of Christ, then we cannot just say I do for the day of our wedding, but it can be I do every day of our marriage.
That's right.
Just doing.
And when I hear to death do us part, I also hear coupled with that, I will never leave you or forsake you. The greatest value I've seen in my marriage is by simply being present.
Wow.
Presence. It's knowing that you're there.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Knowing that you ain't gonna leave.
Yeah.
I asked my wife, I said, hey babe, tell me something. She was like, what? I said, hey, look, what is it that, you had a choice in this thing too. What made you say yes when I asked? She said, well, there was a peace that I had with you when you asked. Wow. It was just a peace I've never experienced before.
Wow.
And the peace, oh my God, I might end up crying on this one. The peace that came, that she explained, was a peace that was connected to a moment while we were dating when we got into it. And I said, I ain't leaving. I'm not leaving. Like, nah, we in this. And he gonna be taken care of. We gonna be all right.
I like that.
I ain't leaving.
I like that.
Nah, and you ain't leaving.
Right. There it is.
Ain't nobody leaving. We're gonna figure this out.
Ain't no door.
But then when you get married and you understand the layers of abandonment that she may have experienced.
Sure.
And you start getting into the layers of, like losing a dad. Walking with her through grief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the letdown from people not being present.
Right.
So you walking in that door every day
For sure.
means something.
Yeah.
You showing up means something. You walking around the community with her means something.
Right. We
overcomplicate it. Yeah. God will provide.
Definitely.
God will provide.
Yeah.
I am a living witness of God providing.
Definitely.
That's exactly why we're here right now.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
So it's a matter of, are you willing to remain present? In the professional sense, there's this term, presenteeism, where you're physically there, but you're mentally checked out.
Sure.
So can you be fully present every day with your wife?
Yeah.
Can you be fully present with her in a way that she knows without a shadow of a doubt? He's here.
He's here.
He's here to stay.
That part.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the answer to that is simple. It's a choice.
It's a choice, man.
And when you, get married, that is the choice you're making. I'm not getting married to get divorced.
No, sir.
Ooh, that's good.
Divorce is not an option.
It is not. It is not. But everybody makes divorce an easy option.
First thing that come up.
Oh my God. Friends, family, media, everything.
Yeah.
Like it's the easy way out, when the fact of the matter is I said yes to you because I love you and I'm going to honor that commitment.
Right.
Even if it kills me.
Even if it kills me.
Yeah.
Even if, and when you say, and I'm bringing a little humor in this, what I'm about to say this, but going back to the appetite changes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Her sexual appetite may shift.
Sure.
Now, I understand that I understand biblically, fornication is a sin.
Sure.
I was not perfect in that area, but how we process things sometimes in our mind, right? Way we process the appetite shift in sex is, well, dang, we were knocking up headboards when we were single, but then we got married and things shifted.
Sure.
And a lot of times you're thinking about that, and sometimes that can cause you not to fully be present. Yeah. And cause you to go and be present with yourself.
Yeah.
Or with something else.
Let me give you another layer to add on that, because you still young. I'm at a point, 27 years in, getting older. The questions that the devil begins to throw at you are, your time is running out.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Are you going to, you better try before it's too late.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the fact that, and it's crazy, because you create your own lust. That's James all day. And when he floods you with those thoughts, you might want to try it now, because it might be too late. Things starting to change. It might be over for you, and you start to pay attention to what God told you not to eat.
And here's the thing. That's so dangerous, because you can't unknow what you've tasted.
Nope.
Once you've tasted it,
it's too late.
You can't unknow that. And now I got to deal with what I know to be true versus where I'm called to be obedient.
For sure.
And it would always creep in.
Yeah.
Because once I taste it, ultimately I'm going to give it to you to taste it.
Ooh, boy.
It affects your marriage at the end of the day.
And it's different flavors.
It's always flavors.
I mean, the menu, when I was coming along, we didn't have social media to flip through and see appetizers and desserts. And
come on.
I mean, the menu is wild right now.
The menu is crazy.
It's wild.
Crazy.
And I think we have to allow ourselves to be content with a limited appetite.
For sure.
That's it.
I think sometimes it's very hard.
Yep.
And one of the things we never really talk about, for me, one of the struggles I used to have was really one with porn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody ever talks about the effect that porn has. Yes, you can be healed from it, and yes, you may not have masturbated and things of that nature,
sure.
But nobody talks about the effect that it has, the aggression that comes from it. And there's an aggression that affects even marriages when it comes to their sex life of, I need to have this. This is my right and my privilege. I'm supposed to get this. And many times for us as husbands, we don't see the error in that. Then when sex becomes something that you think you must have, it's something that you deserve to have, then we lose a sight of love. Love is patient.
Right. Sure.
It's kind. It's gentle.
But that's a trip. How do we go from working to get it to now becoming domineering to now saying, I got you. You're supposed to do this
Because porn gave it to you for free.
right.
I can click on it whenever I want, whatever time I want, and I can get it, and it never fails me.
Well, I'm gonna say this: porn not only has, and I'm gonna take it another layer because that was an issue for me too.
Yeah.
I think it was an issue for me too. But in addition to that, you can be having the greatest sex with your wife. Greed. Now we're talking about being greedy.
Sure.
And you're still practicing porn.
Sure.
At this lady, right?
Yeah.
You're just not satisfied. The appetite, and the appetite was really birthed from what you know. So, like, if you go to BBW or you go to Big Chest, right? Then you gotta go after you leave that fantasy world. You go right back into reality, and you see a woman with a big chest. Immediately there's those triggers that you have to, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of danger in that, but go for it.
I'm gonna be like the church mother. Let's
bring it back. Let's bring it back. We got a few minutes left anyway.
So thinking about what you said, the one thing that God has done so that he does not have to actively punish sin, the punishment is already built in.
Oh, wait.
So when you start, I'll give you an example. I know a married couple who was, the husband was into porn, and the wife said for them to have sex, he had to look at porn first to be aroused so that they could have intercourse.
Wow.
Now, to me, he's moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
The fact that they are still together is a testimony of her love and dedication, commitment to him.
Stand present. Yep.
But the Lord is punishing that punishment that comes out of what he's doing. It takes a strong brother to come up and say to him, look, man, you moving in the wrong direction. And if you care about yourself first and you want to get back to where you were with your wife, we need to do the work to get you out of this, because folks who taste stuff find themselves far gone before they even realize it. And then they find themselves asking the question, how did I get here in the first place?
Wow.
It's too late.
I think that's a great segue, man. Look, so we bringing this one to an end. This was a powerful episode. With that being said, man, I don't know how I forgot to do this on the last one, but I really want to make sure we do it this time. There's a husband out there that's listening to this, right? And if you had like a final word that you would give to a husband as a result of what we just talked about, what would that be?
One thing I would say is be content with exploring your wife in every aspect. When I struggled with porn, I noticed that my appetite constantly evolved, and the things that I wanted to watch started getting a little weirder and weirder. One of the beautiful things about Matthew 6:10, when it talks about Jesus teaching us to pray, the prayer never changes, but yet our relationship with God evolves. The more we begin to explore God, we find new meaning to him, new understanding about him, and our love for him grows. That's the reason why we can be believers for life. So marriage may be hard, or maybe you're considering getting married, or maybe you're stuck in one right now. Don't be afraid to explore that marriage. Even in your sex life, explore your wife. Find out deeper intimacy, maybe new locations, maybe find out what she likes, what do you like. Be self-aware, but more importantly, don't give up. Being a husband is hard. It's difficult. Being a man is even harder. But the fact that you said I do, it's a signature that actually shows that you got something in you.
You got something to give.
You still got potential.
There you go.
Don't give up. Keep pushing.
I love it.
You got it, husband. Go for it.
Like that. Oh, you expect me to follow that?
Hey, look, come on.
Hey,
Go for it.
I'll stay in
Real
the same chapter. Next chapter, Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things shall be added to you. That verse brought me to faith. I would tell husbands, above anything else, if your marriage is on the rocks, even if it's doing well, seek God.
Yeah.
Seek God. Put him first. If I could draw a picture, I'd draw a triangle with you on one side, your spouse on the other, and God at the top. the more y'all seek God, the closer y'all come together. God is the key. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not rich enough. You're not powerful enough to make it work. But God can. As a matter of fact, he can take the mess and put it together and make you think it was always meant to be like that. Wow. That's the kind of God we serve. So seek him first, daily. That should be your daily discipline. Yeah. Not your diet, not your weight training, God.
Yeah. Wow. Now I'm supposed to follow this, right? I think the thing I get from this conversation, two things. When a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing.
That's right.
And he also obtaineth favor. And then talking to the appetite side, taste and see that the Lord is good.
Yes.
When you find the wife, you find a good thing. You also obtain favor. Lean into the favor of what's good. Explore your wife.
Sure.
Be disciplined in your marriage. And taste and see that the Lord is good.
That's good.
Amen.
This has been another episode of Husbandhood. Again, this is a podcast created for husbands, by husbands, to allow husbands to win in marriage. You're going to win after this conversation. Peace.
Cause on the Husbandhood, yeah, we talk it out, that's on every